people are busy, they're time poor. How does our stress impact our eating habits? Like, what do you notice on your side of things with the people that you consult with or through your groups?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have I have something called the wheel of change, which is, again, it's not my theory. It's just an explanation on well-known behavioral change theories. And people will refer to themselves as falling off the wagon. I'm sure everyone knows that idea that you've been doing something, that's perhaps healthful, and maybe it's changing your eating, or maybe it's going for a walk, or it's doing something. And when you stop it, it's referred to as falling off the wagon. So the things that are most likely to cause that to happen are, stress and distress. And we often look at, stress technically is a physiological response in the body that is normal to an external stressor. So people fear stress, but it's normal. Like, if we had no stress response ever, then we would be dead. So that's not helpful. So we
No.
do need, like everything, like lots of things, it is a Goldilocks effect. You don't want too much and you don't want too little. You want just the right amount. But the key is, well, there's a couple of keys. One, I think, is that in our modern society, and particularly, and this is generalization, but it is often the mother, the woman, who is like the linchpin of the family. She's the one who's potentially working, also takes on the cognitive load of shopping, of organizing, kids' dental appointments, who's doing what after school activity. So she takes on a lot. She has a caring role. It's very nurturing. She's looking after the kids, potentially the partner, the parents, the dog. A lot. There's all this stuff constantly on her mind, and rarely does she take time to stop and rest. And when she does, she feels guilty and lazy. But the thing is, we know in the stress response that's actually that's what it's meant to do. You're meant to have a response, and then it's meant to end and you rest, which is exactly what happens when you think about nature. And interestingly, it's the female lions that do the hunting. So they're off, they're hunting, they've got a big stress response. They're running, 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 running. They grab the thing and then they lie down for half a day and rest. So we don't do that. So that means we're constantly got this, cortisol load going, which is unhelpful for our health long term. It's inflammatory. It increases the imbalance in our metabolic hormones, which is, one of the drivers of chronic disease, and in particular obesity, is insulin resistance, driven a lot by chronic stress. So, so there's that as one aspect. And then because we become in this sort of crazy, busy life, we're actually not particularly efficient in the way we do things. We're tired. We're looking for relief from this feeling. And, a couple of places to get that relief are, food, quickly shoveling in a chocolate bar, or, in recent years, phone scrolling. And, you've got all these things to do, but you just need a little time out. So, play 10,000 games at Candy Crush.
I like what you were saying about the stress cycle, because that's something I talk to clients about, is we need to complete the cycle. And people don't know that. And sometimes I'll draw a very simple, I think it's the Yerke-Dodson law, like a little bell curve on a whiteboard, and show people that we need some stress to get to peak performance. And then too much stress, we start to lose our capacity to engage in those tasks meaningfully. And if you sit at that end of that pointy end of the bell curve for long enough, is when you develop those chronic health conditions, regardless of the quality of your diet. So you could be doing having an amazing diet, but it's stress that'll kill you.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. And again, it's, it feels hard sometimes, like, oh my God, I've got to do all these things. I've got to sleep well. I've got to manage my stress. I've got to do some movement. I've got to eat properly. Like, it feels like a full-time job. However, when you create that bit of space by completing the stress cycle, which is often literally the resting, you become much more efficient. You then have time. And, we always say to people, you don't have to do everything in the first day. Like you suddenly decide, and this particularly, you know, this time of year, we're recording this in New Year. If that's what people do. They write this great big list of all the things they're going to do because they want to feel better. And they try and do them all at once. And then, you know, again, life gets busy and they stop them. And that then is the, oh, I've fallen off the wagon.